What is happening, my friends? Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real as always, so kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation, my friends. How is everyone doing today? Thank you so much for tuning in to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show. This is episode 286. 286. A lot to tap in within this hour. I hope you all are, as I mentioned, having a great day, a great evening, great morning, whatever time you're tuning into this program. I appreciate it and I thank you. Look, as always, I also want to thank you for taking 1 hour of your time to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. Multiple ways you can tune into the program. We air on digital and streaming platforms. You can download our YouTube, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Arrington Gavin Show, as well as our Rumble channel, The Arrington Gavin Show. You can listen to us on a variety of podcast platforms, specifically iHeartRadio app. So do me a favor, you can download that app right now. You can also, I forgot to mention, you can also watch us via Goatverse TV. Goatverse TV is an amazing network that I'm honored to be a part of. Do me a favor, download the app, the Goatverse TV app today. It's free, available on the App Store, Google Play Store for you Android users out there. You can also download it on Roku and Amazon Fire. As I mentioned, it's free. It's an amazing platform full of amazing personalities like myself. And it's just amazing content. We want to support our independent networks out there, as well as our Black-owned networks. That's right, I did say Black-owned networks. Also, you can listen to us on the radio airwaves with Monday through Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time out in the Metro Atlanta area with our friends over at WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. So I want to thank them for a great partnership, and we're excited to be a part of that rising station out there. My friends, look, so much to discuss, so much to discuss. I'm trying to decide which one do I want to start with first, but before we get going, I do want to shout out some of our amazing supporters, like the amazing men's grooming line, Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Look, fellas, your beard is more than just hair. It's a statement. Keep it bold, healthy, and rugged with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Their all natural products are designated for every beard, from stubble to full-on lumberjack. Whether it's their nourishing oils, hydrating balms, invigorating washes, Rugged Evolution is the key to a beard that commands respect. Because a rugged man deserves a rugged beard. Rugged is the new smooth. Look, for more information about Rugged Evolution Beard Care, go ahead and follow them on all their social media platforms, or you can visit them today on their website, ruggedevo.com, for some insights on some amazing men's grooming products, okay? They specialize in facial hair, but they have amazing products from exfoliating soaps, body lotions, body wash, face cleansers, soy-based candles. I mean, they have so much amazing products, men, to help take care of our exterior, right? It's great to take care of our temple internally, but also externally as well. So we want to thank them for being a proud supporter of the Arrington Gavin Show. Let's get it going with a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have our fun fact of the day, and then we're going to get it going with some of our topics. So my friends, do not go anywhere. You are tuning into the Arrington Gavin Show.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to.
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up.
Yeah, that's that new Goatverse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of the app he said?
Introducing Goatverse TV.
Goatverse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
You know, just like a winning team evolves, throughout the season, so does your beard. I'm Arrington Gavin, proud CEO of Rugged Evolution Beard Care. With our premium oils, balms, and grooming tools, it's everything you need to level up your beard game. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a rookie, Rugged Evolution is the new smooth. Order now and dominate the beard game like never before. Rugged Evolution Beard Care, because every beard deserves to.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. I am your host, Arrington Gavin. Be sure to follow us on social media at the on Instagram, Blue Sky, X, as well as Substack at the Arrington Gavin Show. I truly appreciate that. Look, let's get it going with our fun fact of the day. We like to start off before we get going in our topics. Look, on today's fun fact, did you all know that there is an island in Japan full of bunnies? And no, I'm not talking about Playboy bunnies. I'm talking about the animal bunnies, the rabbits, okay? The island's name is Okunoshima. Okunoshima, also known as Rabbit Island, is the home to hundreds of wild rabbits. So if you are a huge fan of rabbits and you just say, I would just love to be in a world just full of rabbits, well, your dream can come true with a visit to Okunoshima Island in Japan. Yes. So that was our fun fact of the day. Let's get it going with our topics. Look, I want to finish up talking more about the State of the Union, where you had State of the Union address, where you had our 47th president, Donald J. Trump, address Congress on the, in his mind, all the great stuff that is occurring in under his 100 what do you consider 100 years or 100 not 100 years, Arrington, you're losing your mind. Under his 100 days in office. Look, I wanted to continue this conversation because there has been the big question on, okay, who won, who didn't win, who came out victorious, who came out the losers. Now, in my mind, the Democrats came out as the losers, and I'll explain why. So, for one, and they've been criticized by their own, they're bringing out the bingo paddles as a form of, ooh, you told him that's going to be a huge impact. Trump does not care about your feelings and your thoughts. So obviously, small signage, wearing the same color as unison for it is not going to cut it anymore. I think prior to that, you could say, okay, look, I'm liking what I'm seeing because they're standing for a cause that folks who are for the voters who are they're fighting for. You've seen them in support and solidarity with them, which is like, okay, good, that's cool. But now it's like you got to meet them face to face. You start off with a lady. I didn't know get her name, but I'll say a lady on the Democratic side was holding a sign that said, "This is not normal." Somebody on the Republican side snatched it, ripped it up, and threw it out in the air. Like, get out of here with that mess. She didn't do anything. Okay, boom. 1 point for the Republicans because, hey, the bully won. You didn't respond. Okay, so they won. then you see while Trump is up there speaking, again, speaking nonsense, because prior to that, you already had heard that members of Congress was not even going to attend the State of the Union, which in my mind, I'm like, hey, to me, that's saying something. And why don't all the majority, support? But the majority did not. You had a gentleman who did attend, Representative Al Green out of Texas. He stood up and was protesting, just going back and forth with Trump, saying, this, that, the other. And we've seen it before with other Congress people that dispute what the current president say. They're not allowed to, and there's consequences that are, with that. But hey, they say it anyway. Now, the interesting thing is, okay, Representative Al Green, who was also the first person of Congress, a member of Congress, to put up the articles of impeachment again on Donald Trump, which is like, damn, that was early already. And so he was thrown out the State of the Union. He was, they had security escort him out. He wasn't like back and forth like tussling, but they just escorted him out. So I've mentioned on about a couple shows ago his reasons why he did so, and then I think behind him you started to see Senator Bernie Sanders out of Vermont, independent. He walked out of there because he was like, this is nonsense. And then other folks on the left were walking out. Now, I bring up this image because I'm going to tell you why. To me, it was looked upon as a L for the Democrats. Because, okay, for those who are watching, I put up this graphic here to show, just in past, has this ever been a thing? Has this ever happened in office? So check this out. 2022, GOP representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert heckled then President Joe Biden throughout the State of the Union address. Let's see here. During the same thing, it says here that both the representatives yelled at President Biden. Okay, guess what? They were not escorted out. Boom. So I'm gonna continue this. All right. 2023, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lisa McClain yelled at President Biden. Republicans repeatedly interrupted Biden. Okay, boom. 2024 says here that Marjorie Taylor Greene yelled at President Biden, again, was not escorted. So she's a familiar heckler, right? My thing is, when do you utilize your strengths in the heat of the moments? At the time, I think I want to say now, hold up. Now I will say that I think during those heckles, they had Republican House speakers, because I think it was either McCarthy or Mike Johnson, both Republicans. But obviously they would say quiet down, but they didn't escort them out. So boom, that's one thing. Now, fast forward, you see them escort a person in Congress, because everybody has their right to heckle, harass. If they would just say quiet down, and he still could. Hey, he walked out. But here's what gets worse, because for one, if you're on one team, wouldn't you think you would have your boys back when it says, okay, was he wrong of what he did, or was he right? Now, recently, the House had voted on censoring Representative Al Green. The part that is disheartening is because you had 10 Democrats that voted with the Republicans to censor a Democratic congressman for protesting Trump's speech. Now, look, I'm aware of that. There's issues within individual parties, right? There's Republicans that don't get along with each other. They have their issues. They have a division within their own party. Likewise, the Democratic Party. But in a case like this, the Democrats are already getting heat for just not having a backbone, okay? For not having a backbone. And so I'm like this. This is why you all continue to lose. Because one thing you can take from the Republican Party is that regardless if they're wrong or not, look, they're going to be ride or dies to the very end. They're going to stick when it comes to whatever they can do to win. Yeah, they might not like each other, but they're going to do whatever they can to win. They're going to put their separations aside. They're going to do whatever they can to win. You have 10 Democratic that voted with the Republicans to censor Al Green. You had Representative Amia Barrera, Democrat from California. You had Ed Case out of Hawaii. You had Jim Costa out of California. You had Laura Gillen out of New York. Jim Hines out of Connecticut. Chrissy Houlihan out of Pennsylvania. You had Marcy Kaptur out of Ohio. You had Gerald Masowski out of Florida. You had Mary Perez out of Washington. Then Tom Suozzo. Susie. So I can't pronounce that. Out of New York. Y'all, are y'all gonna continue to respect the position, or are you gonna stand up for what's right and what's wrong? Because that's what really irks a lot of folks when it comes to politics, right? You're always gonna do whatever you can for your own personal benefit and to you just stay in good hands with the who's in leadership. No, at the end of the day, if you see something that's wrong, you need to fight for it. Look, I've disagreed with Representative Al Green prior as far as with the articles of impeachment, because personally, I just felt like what's that gonna do? Y'all have already impeached him before, that didn't do anything. So what's that gonna do? But I can give him respect for the fact that he said, look, people are gonna lose Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance for poor people are going to be lost. I'm protesting for that and for many other reasons. So you have to respect the man's passion and that he's fighting for his constituents, for what's right. And so it's sad to say that you had 10 people within your own party that obviously, said, hey, no, you need to censor him because he's going to keep. No, y'all need to keep on fighting. See, this is the thing. What a lot of Democratic voters are pissed off with the Democratic Party because y'all don't have no backbone. You're making these dumbass TikTok videos and thinking, oh, that's going to help. No, it's not. Action, not freaking TikTok videos and doing stuff that, oh, this is going to be cool. Let me just hold up a little bingo paddle. Man, get out of here with that trash. Get out of here with that trash. Because the Republican Party makes y'all look very, extremely weak. All right. And you see, here's the thing. These folks, which again wasn't smart, because guess what? Folks are gonna have to vote you again in order to stay in office. So you're just building bad bridges within not your own party, but with your constituents. Again, I want to say is that, and it's interesting because when they started to censored Al Green, then House Democrats, majority of them started just thinking we shall overcome along with Al Green. Again, hey, cute, but I mean, hey, you can sing, you can, show. It's great that they showed signs of, hey, we're standing with them regardless, and we're here for you. So we're going to do all we can and continue to push out that narrative and push out that mission. But I go back to the main question: who came out as the winner? Who came out as the loser? I've said the loser was the Democrats. I think the losers also were the Republicans, because I mean, nobody came victorious in this case. I think the American people lost too after that first State of the Union. Trump does what he normally does. Continue to boast this, boast that. You have his minions stand up and just clap every single time they stood up many a times for Elon Musk. They stood up many times. I mean, it's just, you don't know who's in charge nowadays. And it was a lot. But again, here on this program, I just want to keep you guys informed, aware. Yes, you can tell I'm not a Trump fan, but I'm not going to continue to act like the opposing side is any better. All right. So look, let's go ahead and digress from this story. And what else is the left losing at this level? Let me go ahead and see here. There was another story that I wanted to bring up. Okay, check this out. So let me bring on Bill Nye. Yeah, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Remember that guy? So recently, Bill Nye has shared his opinion on on a on his thoughts on the recent layoffs that was occurring from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. His opinion on the new administration firing hundreds of employees. So let me go ahead and play you this clip. And the reason why I'm bringing this out, because Bill Nye the Science Guy is a part of my childhood, right? For those who were very uninterested in science, there was a gentleman by the name of Bill Nye the Science Guy. He had multiple shows and related to science, TV shows, movies, the whole nine yard. The man is very, very popular. He had a recent show on Netflix. I don't think it lasts too long, but I'll just say everybody loved Bill Nye the Science Guy. Like, he's a national treasure. So let me go ahead and play you this clip of him. He was recently on CNN sharing his thoughts on that. And so let's go ahead and hear what he had to say, and then we'll talk on the other end.
Bill, who said it's like asking for a disaster to happen. What concerns do you have on that front, given the valuable service that NOAA provides?
Well, the other thing, the climate is changing. You can say to yourself it's not, and you can take campaign financing from the fossil fuel industry, and you can pretend the climate's not changing and hurricanes aren't becoming more frequent and flooding isn't more. There's forest fires, wildfires in the Carolinas. That didn't used to be a thing, everybody. It's because weather patterns have changed and things dried out in an extraordinary fashion that they didn't used to do. You can pretend that's not happening, but it is. And this is where NOAA's service helped us prepare and deal with that. And it certainly informs where to apply whatever limited resources you have to disaster relief. So it's just everybody, the reason you have public service is to serve the public. And by dismantling this public service, you are not serving the public. And I understand where this came from. This engineer who looked for the weakness, found the weakness, exploited the weakness as fast as he unrealistically could. And now we have a system that's broken in many ways that has to be rebuilt. So yeah, this is in nobody's best interest.
All righty, so let me go ahead and let's dissect that, right? Let's dissect that. So, since Bill Nye has said that, guess what? He's now being targeted by the MAGA folks. You know, them crazy MAGA folks. So he said it there. The reason you have these service across the country is to serve. All right. Let me read some of his quotes if I can. He considered fundamental corruption. He said here that hold on, let me read from this one. So he says, obviously you heard it from there, Elon Musk and his guys were riving up, and I'm an engineer. We love engineering. He's a former mechanical engineer. He said, I used to work on failure effects and modes and analysts for airplanes. So these guys found what they thought was the vulnerable part of the U.S. government, which is this digital service office. He then went on to say that Musk's team got in there and changed all the passwords and messed everything up as fast as they could. And then along the line, the system was not set up right, not set up for it, but understand what's going on by firing people at the NOAA. By dismantling this public service, you're not serving the people. This is in nobody's best interest. Look, he said that from a nonpartisan perspective. This is in no one's best interest. Nobody's. So it explains why you have a lot of conservative voters out there that is pretty frustrated why you give so much access to a man like Elon Musk. Everybody should be alarmed by that. Everybody. But yet again, no one's answering behind him. There's false stuff being made all the time. Is he in charge? Does he have this? Does he have that? One day you say, the speaker or folks in the administration said no, he doesn't have this access. Then you hear the president during the State of the Union, he says, okay, yeah, he's leading this, he's leading that, so is he? So he is in charge. Then it's all crazy. It's all crazy. It's a lot. All right, and so being that this kind man, educated guy, very qualified to share his perspective on this, Bill Nye. Now, guess what? He's criticized by the MAGA group. Says here, obviously, I'm trying to see if I can share some more info in says here approximately 600 workers from the NOAA and the National Weather Service have been fired by the Trump administration. Look, people are just losing jobs left and right. There's folks in my local community that is losing jobs, government jobs, unexpectedly, not aware. It's disheartening. It's really disheartening. Look, I'm not going to say that I don't think that there's wasteful spending happening within our government, but I just do think that there is a better way to do so. And then especially don't have a guy who has multiple government contracts leading that. Why? Because he's the richest man in the world. So he's a person we need to trust because he's wealthy. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. But hey, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of greed in our society. A lot of greed in our society. Let's see here. We're gonna take a quick break. How we're looking with time? Perfect. We're looking good with time. So look, we're gonna take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have some more here on the Arrington Gavin Show, my friends. Do not go anywhere. We have a lot more show for you. Yeah, we're gonna take a quick breather, and when we come back, we'll have more here on the Arrington Gavin Show. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your host, your homie, Arrington Gavin. Look, next up on the chopping block, let's talk about right-wing conservative talker, Mr. Ben Shapiro. Mr. Ben Shapiro recently had a suggestion to for the president and the new administration that really caused a lot of heat, and it was a great reason why to respond the way folks in the public had responded to it. So Ben Shapiro has always been a controversial figure. He is the founder of, I believe it's called the Daily Wire. He's a self-made man. Look, he's extremely intelligent, and as much as I do not agree with majority of his values and his take on things, he's smart. He will bring factual points that okay, you might have a point there, you might have a point there, but you're missing the big picture, kind of thing. And he's very passionate about his value. Hey, I gotta have respect for that. Recently, Ben Shapiro launched efforts asking Trump to pardon former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. So it says here, this report about the Hill, I'm reading this article in context. It says here that the conservative figure launched a petition calling on President Trump to pardon the former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was convicted in 2020 in the 2020 murder of George Floyd. I quote, we write to urge you to immediately issue a pardon for Officer Derek Chauvin, who was unjustly convicted and is currently serving a 22.5-year sentence for the murder of George Floyd and associate federal charges. Here's why I think this is extremely wrong, offensive. I've had a conversation with folks. I was talking with folks who thinks that Derek Chauvin was doing his job as an officer. Here's my take on this. We need better training in law enforcement. I didn't say we need to defund anybody. We need better training in law enforcement. Let me explain. You now have officers that are patrolling communities that are unfamiliar with the environment. I know folks who was born with a silver spoon that might have had let me bring race into this first. I'm about to bring to them. You have one that was born in a silver spoon that's patrolling the lower income communities. You have somebody that might have had one friend that was outside their race in their lifetime, and now they're patrolling a community of all minorities that they're unfamiliar with their environment. They don't know the cultures. Let me also explain this. When you have, and I see this all the time, and I've always saying, like, why in the world do they need so many officers? I can understand you having one person for backup purposes, but there were four, if I'm not mistaken, 4 officers in total that was arresting George Floyd. Now, we all know the tape. I'm not gonna replay that, but we all know. We've all seen the tape. You have Derek Chauvin having his knee on the back of the neck of a man who's already, already on the ground in handcuffs, face down. Oh, obviously he's, excited because he's getting arrested. He's not even moving. He's defenseless. And you have 3 other officers. Why do you have to continue to keep your knee on his neck? And I'm gonna tell you how long it was when that had occurred. It was let me find the actual minutes. Let's see here. It was 9 minutes and 29 seconds almost 10 minutes of all body weight of a man that's probably was well over 200 pounds added, not even including the equipment that was on this officer, on one individual's neck. He got what he deserved. There's people out there saying, please, okay, if the man's saying, and here's the thing, the man was saying he can't breathe. I can't breathe. He's already down. Why do you have to keep your knee after? Again, it was poor routine, poor actions from that officer, and justice needs to be served. Okay, justice needs to be served. And if I'm not mistaken, let me try and let me even go deeper with this. Let me go deeper with this. Let me see here. Let's see here. I'm trying to word something out here. Let's see here. So it says here, this man had a history of misconduct complaints and use of force incidents during his during his 19-year career with the Minneapolis Police Department. Many multiple use of force incidents. Says here, Chauvin was involved in several situations where he used force, including shooting and violent arrests. In 2006, he was one of the several officers involved in a fatal shooting of a suspect who allegedly pointed a gun at police. Okay, so that right there, you're gonna say, well, hey, look, he pointed at them, so obviously they feared their lives. That was self-defense. I'll let that one slide. But hey, law enforcement does have protocol. They do have protocol. Also, it says here that accounts from colleagues and civilians described him as an unnecessarily aggressive and unwilling to de-escalate situations. All right. That was from colleagues. So obviously he's had issues when it comes to how he does his thing in the police department. Look, I'm not saying working in law enforcement is easy, because it's not. And I thank God that we have officers that defend their life for strangers, someone like me, and they don't get paid enough. And they deserve a lot more money than what they're getting. What I'm saying is, if you see somebody that is doing something wrong within your force, say something, speak up. That's why a lot of those officers that were surrounded Derek Chauvin there were consequences met towards them. They had to suffer consequences because they were involved. They did not do anything. They didn't say, okay, Derek, get off. We already got him down. Just chill. Just wait until. No, they didn't do anything. So now we got this idiot Ben Shapiro saying, okay, we need to pardon him. We need to pardon Derek Chauvin, because obviously it was a whole, the Justice Department was basically pressured by the Black Lives Matter movements and all the other this and that and the other, and they were pressured into serving time. No, justice was freaking served. It was served, and here's my thing, and I've heard this take too. Well, if he was talking that he's breathing, BS. You go ahead on, get in the same position. I want you to be in the same predicament, and let's see if you're going to be saying that. Come on now, y'all. And maybe Ben Shapiro brought up that suggestion because, hey, you already see it. Donald Trump does like to pardon criminals. I mean, he did it with the January 6th crew. I mean, why not pardon another criminal? that deserves to be in jail. So here's the thing. Pardoning folks are people that really, you got to look back at the case and say, okay, do they really deserve this lengthy consequence? Yes, he does. He took a life. Took a life. Let me go ahead and read you a little more with this. So Floyd's death ignited obviously a nationwide protest in 2020 after video footage. I'm not going to explain it enough, but it says here, he was speaking to, hey, I can't breathe. He was on his knee for nearly 10 minutes. The episode led to months of protests and coincide with the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, look, I myself walked with our local Black Lives Matter movement in this. We sat down on the ground for the length of time this man was on this guy's neck. It seemed like it was hours. And what was so beautiful was that it was people from all walks of life. People that were probably conservative voters, people that were probably liberal voters, people that, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, you name it. There were folks that, and it was even it was a nationwide, it was a worldwide protest, because there were folks in Europe that was protesting for that, because they're like, this is wrong. He was wrong. Now we have seen patterns of officers doing, either assaulting unarmed individuals. Again, there's multiple names we can, always bring up, but I'm focusing strictly on this one. And it's unfair. Now, look, the Black Lives Matter movement, organization-wise, corporate-wise, yeah, they got some issues, because they get caught up with a lot of their founders and leaderships, getting caught up with the financial aspect. That's wrong, but the cause is needed, and it's important, because we're not saying that all lives doesn't matter. We're saying historically Black lives were disrespected. Okay, so I get tired when people always want to say, well, really all lives matter. Well, guess what? Stop trying to overshadow the fact that past years Black people historically were treated like crap, and minorities are still treated like crap. Maybe not compared to back then during the civil rights era, but you do have but you do have issues when it comes with minorities. We're seeing it right now with the whole ending of DEI programs, right? They don't want to provide people with equal opportunities. And that's not just for minorities. That's really for all people. Because again, I got to explain, diversity doesn't mean color. Diversity means so much more. Color, gender, skill set, age. Jeez Louise. Let's see here. It says Shapiro in the letter described the death as the inciting event for the BLM riots, which he noted caused significant property damage and set American race relations on their worst footage in recent memory. He also pointed to what he viewed as gaps in the evidence presented at trial. But most importantly, Shapiro said in the letter, was the massive overt pressure on the jury to return a guilty verdict. Ben, you try so hard to be relevant. I understand. You're very successful. You got a pattern of creating successful conservative talkers. Hell, I mean, you really grew the career you helped contribute to the career of what's her name? Candace Owens. You do stuff to stay relevant. I get it. But this my guy, come on now. Come on. I mean, he's got, and it was so annoying because he can act very annoying when it comes to his take on things. Like, well, I look at this. I look at this evidence. There's some gaps. There's some gaps in here. It is some gaps. It's some gaps in this case, and I do believe that he talks like a know-it-all. He talks like a know-it-all. And I just wanted to share this because I wanted to get this off my chest, because so many folks have been telling me about this case, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? Pardon this. You don't know what can occur under this administration. And that's the sad part. You really don't know what can happen. You don't know what can happen. I hope it doesn't, but it wouldn't surprise me if it do. And if it does, I mean, hey, you got to see some more protests. Added on the many of protests happening right now because of this administration. Let me go ahead and digress, my friends, and move it on to another story. Let's see here. Let me look one time. Let's go ahead and talk about the popular retailer Target, shall we? So as you know that recently they had a well, they call it a blackout when folks basically they want everybody to just protest. Don't use anything. They wanted to have an economic blackout on certain retailers, Target included. Pastor Jamal Bryan of New Birth Church out in the Georgia area. There's not specifically Atlanta side, but it's a mega church. He has a huge platform. I'm a big fan. He's you can look at him as a civil rights activist as well as pastor. I had the opportunity to actually meet him once when I was at a conference in Atlanta. Very nice guy. You can come across as a little flashy, right? But in my opinion, I think he means well, and he's been on a roll when it comes to protesting for Black people, right? And so recently, let me go ahead and find this soundbite for you and play it for you all. With the protests happening with Target specifically, because they were facing a 40-day boycott because of their rollback on DEI initiatives. So let me go ahead and play you this, and we'll talk on the other side.
Now, a prominent Georgia pastor is leading a nationwide boycott against retail giant Target. Pastor Jamal Bryan of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Stonecrest is calling for a fast to protest Target's decision to scale back its diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. With more than 50,000 people already signing a petition in support, organizers hope to reach 100,000 signatures. That boycott officially started today. It runs through April 9th. Well, right now, a prominent Georgia pastor is leading a nationwide boycott against.
So let's go ahead and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, folks. Let's talk about it. So they're seeing a decline happening at Target because, okay, folks are in agreeing with, okay, why are you taking, back this stuff? Which again, basically means y'all never cared about it in the first place. Y'all never cared about the whole building diversity and expanding the fact that, hey, look, we do need diversity of skill set, voices in our workplace, because that's the world we live in, right? That's the world we live in. We live in a melting pot full of cultures. Yes, people are American citizens, but guess what? Not everybody's treated the same. And that's the reality that people need to start to understand, is that, hey, look, but see, they don't care because it doesn't happen to them. Until it happens to them, they're to have a wake up call like, oh my goodness, oh my God. Was I just discriminated? What? Like when people get so lost and like they gasp, like, what it's funny because I heard the story of a gentleman who was on the opposing end and still is very much on the opposing end. He recently had a court case in the state of Alabama because he was caught reckless driving, and he said that the judge was being racist because he told him, hey, do you need a translator? The man can speak English, but he obviously has an accent. And so he just felt, he's like, I can't believe that judge. I just can't believe that judge. I'm like, I don't know why. For one, Alabama's history. Okay. Sorry, not to anybody from Alabama. I bet it's a great state, but historically the state had some issues and probably still does hold on to those values. And so what people need to realize is that it exists. All we're saying is that you need to open up and smell. Like, as much as people always get offended when you hear the term and they ruin the word, but you got to stay woke at some points. You got to be informed. You got to stay alert. You got to be aware. Let's see here. And it's funny because the same people that will be on the opposing end of that will be the ones that are so pro NRA, pro guns and this. I'm like, okay, why you have all these guns? Man, you just gotta be prepared. All right, so you're saying that, are you woke when it comes to having all these firearms? Like, come on. Like, it's interesting in my opinion. It's very interesting. But let me go ahead and read you this real quick because I'm looking at my time. Atlanta-based Reverend Jamal Bryant, excuse me, has urged consumers to avoid spending money at the retailer for the entirety of Lent. Lent began recently, and it runs through April 17th. The 40-day boycott is in response to a recent move by Target to scale back in its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, according to the outlet. Says here that Fox Business had reached out to Target for a comment. Target scaling back. It says the retailer said in late January that it was altering its DEI efforts, including stopping external diversity focus surveys and renaming its supplier diversity team the supplier engagement. All right. Focus Business report at the time, the company also said it was concluding its 3-year DEI goals and ending its racial equity action and change initiatives in 2025. Says here, this is by the Chief Community Impact and Equity Officer, Kira Fernandez. Says here, we remain focused on driving on business by creating a sense of belonging for our team, guests, and communities through a commitment to inclusion. Belongings for all is an essential part of our team culture, and helping fuel consumer relevance and business results. Here's the thing: you will never see an impact. You will never change a person's focus or a company's focus when you start hitting them in their pocket, and that's what they're doing. They're seeing a decline. They're expecting to see a decline in sales, so maybe they're already making some adjustments and whatnot. But says here that and this is what Jamal Bryant had mentioned, is that $12 million a day is being spent in Target. $12 million a day. You hear me? In Targets alone. And I can believe it, because when do you ever see Target like empty? When do you ever see like no cars in the parking lot? Target's always packed. I've never been really a Target person. I never have interest in like really getting. I've gotten t-shirts and stuff from there, but it's like I'm not a Target holic. There's you had black owned brands that have their products in Target that was hoping that that people would not protest. I know Charlamagne the God had made a suggestion of saying, why don't you just, why can't they do a buy-up? Why can't you just like buy all your products and clean you out? Because that'll be a solution to be like, hey, look, you win. Now we're just gonna go strictly to your source, or instead of going there, like I said, go to their website, so then they wouldn't have to rely on Target. They just rely on, and that's another key issue. Folks, if y'all really love these black-owned brands and black-owned businesses, go to the source. Go to the source. You don't have to go through a third party. You do not have to go there. Sometimes it, in the past times, it benefited by getting in this larger retail, because like, okay, this is a guarantee that's going to be, somebody's going to at least buy, somebody's going to at least buy. Or also when it comes to marketing, it looks great when you can market saying, hey, look, my product is in here and there and there. I know this because I have products in prominent retailers, right? So I understand. But at the end of the day, it's what's right and what's wrong. It's what do you stand for? In reality, man, we need to make sure everybody is treated equal. Everybody, regardless of political values. I want everybody to be treated equal. I want everybody to be treated as an equal. And we should not have to have this conversation in 2025. We should not. And that's the big overall issue, is that people are not being treated as equal. And nor do they want to either give you the time of the day to explain, okay, why this is wrong, why this is not fair. It's just they don't. Oh boy, let me see how I'm looking at time. I'll continue on my at another story I want to bring up, but I'll finish that on the next go round. But my friends, as always, do me a favor. Continue to support independent media. Continue to support local businesses, your local businesses, small businesses, veteran-owned, minority-owned businesses. Be sure to do your part in acts of service, giving back, right? Treating others with respect, being kind to one another. I'm gonna continue to do my part here and just keep you guys informed, entertained, but also, like I said, informed what's happening in our communities, and in our world, because we got to do better, y'all. We have to do better. Yes, we're one of the greatest countries in the world, but we have our flaws, man. We have our flaws, and we got to do better, regardless of political opinions. Look, it's great to have a diverse group of thoughts, diverse groups of values. It's good to have those conversations. Now, if one or the other is just continues to want to bash you and cause arguments, stuff like that, hey, that you make the choice on that. But for those who are open to that, that civil dialogue, that's awesome. That is awesome. If we can all agree to dislike different sports teams, we can agree to dislike different politicians. We can agree to disagree on this and that and X, Y, and Z. So I never see what's the, I recently had on John Sitka, who is he's the chairman, the Republican chair for one of the local Republican parties out here in the Hampton Roads area. And so we had an amazing conversation. We could have talked for hours. Now, me being, an independent, right? That's really, I'm not too fond. I'm not fond of Republican values. I might have some conservative viewpoints that I do agree with, but as a majority right now, the Republican Party, I do not lean to that end by any means. I just think that you have as good as it gets Republicans, and then you have the people that just want to listen to what the fearless leader tells them to, and it's disgusting. It really is disgusting. And so but we had a great conversation, y'all. We have a great conversation, and that's the kind of conversation you're going to be tuning into here on the program, when I have influential folks in entertainment, music, politics, philanthropic work, you name it. They're going to all be here on the Arrington Gavin Show. As always, my friends, do me a favor, follow us on social media at the Arrington Gavin Show, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Substack. Also, download the GOATverse TV app today. It's free, available on the App Store, Google Play Store, as well as Roku and Amazon Fire. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our Rumble channel, and listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast at the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace and blessings. I will see you next time for another great conversation. I'm out.